Wagwan, Mr. Maps.
Yo, wanna do what it is.
What it is, big man. Are you alive and kicking?
Yeah, fam, I'm alive. Can't complain. I'm excited to be back. My calendar is still upside down, fam. Still upside down. I don't know which way is up at the moment.
Yeah, but it is what it is. We welcome you back to the team.
Yeah, no.
Siyabonga ukuthi you paid us a visit.
Wow, this is the energy that you're starting on.
I want to be as petty as I'm not sure. Maybe back in your day you'll remember girls who do this. These auntie when I feel like these days are such time. When these days you forgot.
No, my mom does that. Auntie, these days I'm suffering. So I'm just like,
yeah. Oh, dude, my mom does that as well. But then it's like a guilt trip. I always find that fascinating, by the way. But it's not just my mom who does it. It's like older relatives. Because okay, sometimes like you get caught up in life and then you get busy and then you just next thing you know you've gone a day, 2 days, 2 weeks ungabambang your phone to like pick up and call someone, right? And then you'll one day get it. These days awusangithandi. These days uyangizonda. Awusangifuni.
Yeah.
Now the funny thing with me, that kind of guilt tripping unfortunately sometimes doesn't work with me, because the first thing I always think about is just pick up the phone and call me.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm always like, you texted me, you're texting me, you literally just pick it. It's not like I won't answer, like just call me. And if I miss your call, I'll definitely call you back.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. But anyways, welcome back, Mr. Maps.
Yeah, no, guys, it's not really, I don't want to be here, man. It's not that I don't want to be here. You know, guys know I love the podcast. I write for the pod. But you know, life comes at you fast. Last week I was in America, and you know, I thought, sharp, I'm gonna have plenty of time. But work, you know, and then also upside down time zones where by the time I was free it was 1 a.m. For Senna. So you know, it's a lot going on, trying to juggle everything. And you know, Nat was kept hinting, I can't wait for Thabo to come back and tell us, you know, where he's been. I'm like, I didn't know America was such an exciting announcement. I'm not sure, you know, like I'm like what's
I'm sure kulokunye kwaziyo. I'm sure kulokunye kwaziyo, Mr.
Insider information. Well, simchele ukuthi kuyabopisa phela in finance, specifically when you're trading. Insider trading is quite illegal. So ngihamba utshela abantu, guys, phela this stock you need to buy now. Buy. I can't tell you why, but just buy it. You know, that's not allowed.
It is a crime.
That's not allowed.
It is a crime.
It's a crime. So she might need to answer for her crimes in the court of law.
She'll come and answer, and then what will you say?
Sizambuza ufila court ukuthi kati ubusithini lapha lapha.
As I feel sorry, because I feel like everyone who follows you on Instagram kind of knows.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Everyone who listens to the podcast is just like,
absolutely,
what the fuck is this guy talking about?
Yeah. But you know what's funny? When we spoke about, like, you know, me being engaged and me getting married, it's like, if you keep that news to yourself, let's say I never ever said that on the pod, that's looked at as hella shady, right? Whereas like, oh, hey, why didn't you say anything? You know, like it's people treat it like it's something that's meant to be said publicly. Whereas this, on the other hand, I could just say nothing, and like people will be like, alright, cool, you know, like sharp. In fact, it's almost the trend these days to kind of say nothing, at least socially speaking, right? Obviously, those in your inner circle be in your inner circle. So I just found that to be interesting. But guys, long story short, you know, for I'd say for the most part, for the most of this year, the greater part of this year, the breaks, me being unavailable and stuff like that, is because I was pregnant. So,
You were pregnant.
I was pregnant, bruh. I was carrying, my firstborn. So all the doctors' checkups and all that kind of stuff. Had to take a break, take a step back sometimes. So Senna had to hold it down. And then obviously, a big shout out to you, Mr. Moyo, for always being adaptable enough to literally record, with Nat, with Mtogo, with whoever, bruh, like at any time to, try to give the people some content. But don't lie, we're watching some episodes. Like, there'll be times where like, yo, Senna, I can't do it. And Senna be like, no, it's cool. I'm like, this nigga had plans. So
no, you know what, right?
Yeah.
Can I
of the situation?
Okay, I'll come back to that point. But first of all, on behalf of me and everyone who listens to the pod, congrats, my guy. It's a very big step in your life.
Thank you.
Being daddy father. What's funny is
pregnancy is not easy.
Oh yeah. You just reminded me of that. There's a Schwarzenegger movie. I think it's the worst movie he's ever done, where he played a pregnant dad. I'll never forget that. It was very strange. There was a time when Schwarzenegger was doing very, very weird movies, but whatever. But congrats. I mean, it's a big step. What's funny is, I think we're coming up to episode 100, and that coincided with literally the birth of your son. So then it was like, it'll be the perfect time to actually pens down. And it literally, we recorded episode 100, we posted it, and then 2 days later, boom. So it's going to be interesting scheduling. So when we talk about scheduling and whatever, guys, I'm always making jokes. No, it's because they're very serious. They're very serious things behind the scenes, so it's not necessarily like
no, please.
We don't want to do the thing. Sometimes we have
absolutely.
to let Mr. Maps go do fatherhood stuff. I can't imagine being a wife or a baby mama. He's not changing nappies. He's recording podcast with his friend. That I don't think that would fly.
No. So when he's at an age where he can entertain himself, I'll definitely record with him. I'll use that as bonding time. So he'll be on the mic. But yeah, it's definitely. Oh yeah, real quick before I forget. Yo, Nat's speech about what's his thing? Buy me a coffee. I was in a train. And I wanted to stand up and be like, yo,
stand up and start up.
This woman, she's preaching, fam. I was like, Nat is actually my hero. She's like, no, listen to me. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, my bad. I was like, nah, fam. So no, thank you, Nat, for that. I mean, yeah, we do say, honestly speaking, we really do this just because it's our thing, and technically it really is, like you said. I think you said it perfectly, that it really is our catch up. Like, we talk about a whole bunch of random so stuff that we talk about on the pod. I'd say 70-80% of it is stuff that we would have talked about in private and laughed about. So we just happen to have mics recording, So like, this literally just becomes our weekly, let me catch up with my boy, type of thing. But yeah, no, actually, this the content shouldn't be mahal, but it is what it is. So anyway, yeah, the Buy Me a Coffee is there, guys. Do with that what you please. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. But not lit a fire under people, bro. I was like, I was like, yo. Yeah. I was like, this is good. This is very good. But back to that fatherhood situation. It's been a very interesting journey, bro. Like, I was telling you on the phone, when he was born that night. The wedding was like probably the happiest moment of my life, right? And I understood all of the emotions that were running through me. That like was like, okay, sharp, we're all happy. This is the perfect day. I'm surrounded by people that love me, and I'm on cloud 9, you know. So it was everything. I could wrap my mind around it. Whereas when he was born and like holding him for the first time, and you know, just like, you know, like this you know, that type of thing. I was like, it was wild, bro. Like I honestly didn't know. I had like, it was a mix of like happy emotions, but also nervousness and like, what the fuck, like all of that put in a bottle, you know. So that's why I was literally like this. I couldn't describe the moment. I just honestly, I think the best way is like I was confused. I think that's the best way to describe. I really was just confused on like, God, what's going on here, and like it was just so much hitting me at the same time, and like you've got this little one who's just, you know, I can't lie, he was not looking at me. His eyes were closed, they were shut. Like it took him a few days to start opening his eyes, but like, you know, the moment that even he popped out was the funniest shit ever. Funniest shit, because we have a picture. He looks so shocked. Yes, like I don't know if it's shock or disappointment. It's like, these are the ones who've been making noise like the whole time. You know what I mean? Like it's just the look on his face is priceless, bro. Like I look at that image like every so often, and I just laugh, and I'm like, bro, it's how does the human body know to make that expression? You know, doctor picks him up, he's looking at us, we're looking at him, we're like, yo, this is you, and then he's just kind of there like, what's going on? Like, this is not my environment. So all of that, cut the umbilical cord as well. That was very interesting. But yeah, no, listen, it's a hell of an experience, man. It's a hell of an experience to be there for the birth of your child, and support obviously your wife. Labor's not fun. I like, even like the early stages were looking like she was seeing stars, bro. And I was like, yeah. And like is this whole thing of like, I don't know how to, because like I'm thinking about it like, okay, fine, Senna, imagine if you had the most intense pain in the world, and then your girlfriend is just there like, Senna, it's gonna be okay. You're like, Senna, do you want to hold my hand? Like me in extreme pain, I just want to cuss everybody out. So like I really, I don't know, fam. It was just, I felt bad for her, and I felt helpless, because I'm like, I don't know what to do, and I know what I'm doing is really not helping. And a problem is that like your person looks at you like, bruh, you need to come up with a solution. And I'm like, there really is no solution to this particular conundrum. So she's now like looking like, I feel like she's mad at me, and I'm like, but babe, there's nothing I can do. You know, like it's just.
You probably put her in that position, so I can understand.
I'm like, I wish I was a doctor. I would get the paid. You know, I get the kid out of you and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's really, what I would say is, it's a surreal experience. Everything. And what was funny is that the day she went into labor, we weren't obviously we're not expecting, no one expects it, right? It's like the due date was still like 2-3 days away. So she had been having like Braxton Hicks for maybe the last 2 weeks, on and off, like you know, I'm a cramps now, or what, and it now got to a point where it's like, okay, for me, she says it, I'm like, yeah, it's not really the real thing, but all right, sorry, babe. And then now it happens on Saturday. I'm at the gym. I went to the gym in the morning, and she texts me. She's like, bro, I'm having these cramps again. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, just keep an eye on them, and you know, let me know if I need to come home. She goes, okay, sharp.
Yeah.
Then I continue my workout for another like 30-35 minutes, and I get a text. She's like, you know what? Come home. And I'm like, oh, okay, sharp. I'm going home. And then I go home, and like my gym is like 5 minute drive from the crib. So I go home, And I'm like, so what's the situation? Like, are we rushing to the hospital now? And this is a problem with Hollywood. Hollywood has sort of, if I say, Senna, your girl's going into labor, right? What would you imagine? You think about your typical Hollywood movie, she's screaming, and you guys are rushing for the suitcases, and you know what I mean? Like, all that shit. Like, that really, that's not what happened. We literally came, I think we even had time to chow. I had time to bath after the gym, because I was like, there's no way, if this is potentially the birth of my son, I'm not going to the hospital smelling like the gym. Like, there's no way. Like, rather, like, I go bath at the hospital or something like that. But I was like, nah, I wait, right? So I'm like, is there time for me to bath at the very least? Like, no, it's cool. Like, the contractions are coming every like 10 minutes or something like that, or whatever it was, right? So it's not like it was crazy. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I jump in the shower, I bath, you know, she gets ready, she eats, I eat, and then we grab her bag and we go literally to the car, go to this basic, like it's like chilled. It's a chilled Adam, right? And every 10 minutes it's like, oh my god, the pain. So like that's literally what it was. So it was definitely not what I was expecting. Even when he was born, I was expecting him to like shabam course and start crying, because again, that's what the movies say. This nigga was silent. This nigga was just looking, you know, he was just kind of making baby movements and all this other stuff, and like I was like, oh, okay, cool. You know, it's a bit underwhelming. Where's the drama? Where's the suspense? You know,
you want to panic.
Exactly. So yeah, no, it was. But overall, I'm happy. Like he's such a happy boy. He doesn't cry. He's a reflection of his father. So it's very good. You know, what we need to do. I don't know if you remember, but do you remember that episode where I was talking about branding? Like my son needs to be, or my child needs to be on brand and there was an episode where I was talking about that shit. What you know, he must align, or she must align with the brand.
The brand and
yeah. So I was like, I'm not gonna, if this kid doesn't align with the brand, I can't post him on socials. Like, he was like, nah, fam, I wins. But luckily, my maturity was not tested in that way. We thank God. He is all the way on brand. He's a Maps baby, and we love him. We love him for it. So overall, Gumnandi with fatherhood, highly recommended. Okay. 5 out of 5 stars.
No, we give thanks. Yeah, I probably won't. Don't recommend it too much, right? But it's actually, it was fascinating, because I think the way you were talking about is very different to anything you've ever spoken about in your life. So there was a very evident sort of change and overwhelmed sense when we're talking about it on the day and the sort of the day before. So yeah, man, it seems like a great experience. So the listeners will bear with us if we need to take a couple more breaks just to adjust to this new change.
Yeah, absolutely. The schedule is adjusting, guys. We're trying to figure it out. Mr. Lawyer is also busy, so like we'll figure it out. I don't know. Since you and Nat were already hinting at this is a related podcast, like how good the time who was 6 foot waves.
But I saw like girls guys started like this. It's a break. Next thing you know, 3 months, no episode.
Fam, is nowhere to be found. Yo, I was like, Bunzi. But I get it. I understand. Like it's really like it's just those with parents with kids,
with children.
You understand. Like it's literally one of those things where obviously if it's your first time, you're like, you're excited, so you want to invest all of that time and you don't want to miss a moment. I was gone for like a week and he looks like a different guy. I was like, what is going on? He's heavier.
Yeah, because they grow up.
He's a big boy. Quick. He's a big man. Like we are like, you know, like when I carry him standing, I'm like, bro, you've got 6 minutes to sort yourself out, because in 6 minutes my arm's gonna start hurting and I'm gonna sit down. So when you plan,
see you are God.
I'm funny as Cinder, bro. And he's only like a month and a half. Like I'm funny as Cinder. Like it's gonna be insane. But you know, Project Kobe, we're starting. We're starting very, very early. Although he's got a Jordan onesie, so I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to explore that other part of my life. It's he's definitely recalibrated my priorities in life. I'm still committed to groove though. Yo, catch me at groove.
Oh yeah.
We'll still be within the hub.
You'll see me there.
The hub and the henny. No. We're within. Brunch, count me in. But it's just it's a different side where exeni. So it's a Sambe Park, to shoot some hoops and be physical and stuff. And then Dambama, we're in the black. He'll be with his nanny. So it's balance. Perfectly balanced, like Utanos. That's how you say it in the Zulu accent. Utanos said perfectly balanced, like all things should be. But yeah, Mr. Moyo, that's literally the update on my life.
No, we give thanks.
I'm sure that's what people have been wanting to hear. So now the cat's out the bag. So now we can get.
If you don't know, now you know.
Interesting things. Exactly. Some interesting topics here. So I think this is what most people are interested in. The big news of the week. I think you're going to need to explain it to me. I understand it for the most part, but I think you have more of the details. Former footballer. I think he's a former footballer. I don't think he's playing anymore. Matthew Booth got himself in a bit of a scandal. So could you enlighten us, Mr. Moyo, on what exactly happened?
Yeah, no. So Matthew Booth he played for Bafana, I think, during the late 2000s. So from around 2007 to the World Cup, so to 2010, he was part of the Bafana team, and he played for Sundowns, and he was a decent footballer, So since then he's retired and he's been like on SuperSport, blah blah blah. He analyzes games. That's his life. Also married to a black woman called Sonia Booth. So Sonia, to everyone's shock and horror. So I didn't even, actually, to be fair, I didn't know her. I know she's accomplished in her own right, but admittedly, I'm only a football fan, so I was only ever interested in the story because Booth did something, apparently, right?
Yeah.
So she logs on to Twitter and then she posts receipts. And a whole bunch of receipts, right? So in these receipts, she's talking about how Matthew Booth has been cheating on her with this woman that he goes to gym with. And in that regard, she had receipts, right? So she had evidence that he spent money here. He took her car, drove to different parts of South Africa. They drove to Polokwane, they drove to Durban. They were, driving to these work events together. And basically they were spending like a lot of time beboing, right? I think the straw that broke the camel's back in this whole story, or the wild part of this whole story, is when she then said what annoyed her the most, I think it was the night before her son's birthday, their son's 18th birthday. Matthew Booth was baking in their kitchen. He was making a cheesecake. Booth is baking the cheesecake, and I don't even know how. Like I have an idea of what it takes to bake a cake, but cheesecake has always come across as like next level baking, like, because I think it needs like a whole lot more. Like, it needs to set, needs a whole bunch of things, bloody blah bloody blah. So he bakes the cake. Everyone in the house assumes the witty is for the child's birthday.
That's so rude.
Next day, Dololo cake, right? Okay. As she continues with the investigation, she then links up with the other woman's husband. They bring receipts together. They put the puzzle pieces and they figure out what happened. It turns out they've been cheated on. And on top of that, the cake that Booth, is it baked? Although Twitter's been saying boke. The cake that he baked was then eaten by her family. So he gifted it to his side chick on the day of his child's birthday. And the husband was like, "Oh no, it was like a really good cake. Give it a 9 out of 10."
Oh my god! Wait, the side's husband.
The side's husband, yes. So isn't he's taken the cake from his home that he baked? He's given it to his side chick. Side chick also, whiling, goes to her husband and says, "So yeah, how much would you rate this cake out of 10?" He's like 9.
Whew. Fear women.
So she posted all of this like online, right? Like social media. The whole of Monday has just been, it was just memes and jokes and LOL and kikis. No, because genuinely I think to an extent we couldn't believe it. Like it's the audacity, especially the cake saga, right? The audacity
that one is
bake a cake
egregious.
in your wife's kitchen and go give it to your side chick. Nah, that I understand.
Man. Like this is the thing. Like I can understand niggas who, you know, you bought a side chick. You bought a cheesecake for your side, right? Okay, delivered to so and so shop. All right, still bad, but all right, shop. But like to use family resources and utensils, you know, and even worse, you know, the night of your son's birthday. That's wild, fam. Like that's like, bro, nah. Like you need to have some timing, you know. It's like you know, like yes, I'd love to, you know, make you a cheesecake, but like, you know, or rent, like he's got money, rent an Airbnb, you know, and go do that shit. Like it's that shit was wild. Like I couldn't believe the cheesecake thing. I couldn't believe it, and I was just like, guys. And then also are we going to discuss the fact that the next time is a grenade, or are we leaving that on the table?
I knew you'd say that. Yo, wow.
And the karate. I honestly thought when I saw the picture, I thought it was a joke. Like I was like, no. It's like, you know what I mean? You see something like, nah. Like, oh yeah, you know, you can see it. You know, you see, you know, Tristan Thompson's Vandy, you're like, oh, okay, sharp. You know, you know, I got to guy. But like in this case, it's like, nah, bro. It's I don't know, man. Like that's who broke up the happy home, and then also she's married too. You know, that's
yeah,
another
she
thing.
is
That's
married
some
too.
Wild shit.
It's a whole interracial situation. So I think
interracial, interfamily, inter-cheesecake, all games just. My goodness, fam.
But so there's something that you just said. There's something that you just said, which is a toxic takeaway, to be honest.
Okay. Okay.
But I do want to discuss it because I think it's not the first time I'm seeing it. A lot of guys have said this online.
Yeah.
And I also wonder how women feel about. Do women ever think when they cheated on, they look at the other woman
absolutely.
and say, "I know, but
absolutely.
Can you respect me?"
No, women are even worse.
You reckon?
Women will disrespect her even worse because if it's like, oh, you cheated on me, not even with her, with that. That's literally what I was seeing, you know. And I'm just like, whoa, like, yeah, it's another level of disrespect. So
isn't that the whole beauty is subjective in the eye of the beholder type of thing? Because ultimately, once you start saying things like that, you're not saying that no one finds that girl beautiful. Maybe Matthew Booth found her hot and beautiful, even if you wouldn't, for example.
Is she on Instagram? Let me look up her Instagram.
The other woman, yeah, no, she is.
Yeah. Let me see. Because maybe the Twitter item just doesn't work. Bongani. How do you pronounce the last name?
I don't know how to pronounce it. I just know how to spell it.
Okay, I found her. It looks like she created a new Instagram.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she might have deleted it.
I,
Or maybe not. Or maybe not. But it's private now. I don't know. So I guess maybe she's not a public person.
yeah, I
But
know, but also I think a lot of people have just been.
yeah, so maybe she just kind of closed it off for now.
She's probably been getting a lot of
But
like abuse from Abantu because of that.
let's see what Google has to say. Vele, she's the first suggestion on Google. I mean, I know, zero, bruh, zero. It's
Yes,
bad.
you're not convinced.
Yeah, no, it's. I think he's a saying even Ufa's Yaput is also it's also not
Hi,
that great.
Kenyabo. Hi.
I'm just like, but
You guys are rude.
I'm like, no, you guys,
So,
you
are
need,
they-
you need to pick one.
My next question then is not that any of us would be familiar with, but in the rules of cheating, and in the
Yeah.
rules of furbing, is it a generally established principle to cheat up?
Oh, Kari, Lokuzin, Sonia Booth, Mundum Yama.
Yes, Thabo saying interracial.
Oh shit! No, because I thought you were going like the other way. No. Shit! I didn't even realize. No, I didn't even realize, fam. I thought she was white. Because also, Hanti, thing on Twitter, it's just a logo. So I just assumed, him being a white South African. No, but no.
Nope.
So Sonia is not. She's Gakomo. At least in my opinion, she's not ugly. She's not ugly. I don't think so. I
You have a
disagree
problem
that
with the side.
wholeheartedly. Yeah, the side. Cheat. By the way, so your question was about what? Cheating up? People will argue in the majority of cases that people cheat downwards because it's because the thing is, a lot of the time for someone to do that, right? It's because there's something missing in the relationship, yeah. And what if it's a physical thing? So like you have your bullet 10 out of 10, Instagram model, blah blah blah, right? But like if it's not firing in the sack, it's not firing in the sack, right? And then you meet XX person at XX Brai or whatever, and turns out the baps are fire, then that's what you were missing. Therefore, you're not really interested in her looks, right? You're interested in the physical side. Or, maybe your person's not aesthetically pleasing. And you're like, I need someone like she's like super skinny, and you're like, oh, I need someone like big, or thick or chunky or whatever. And then it's like your filter now becomes, I'm looking for someone chunky because that's what appeals to me. So I think it is the whole cheat up, cheat down thing is like that one is super subjective because obviously you were looking for something, and we don't know what that something was. So it might look like, oh, John, or Matthew in this case, cheated down, but like maybe in his mind he cheated up because of what
In terms
the
of
other woman
something.
was offering. Yeah.
Okay. It's fascinating.
But-
it's fascinating. With the more I think about it, the more I'm always like, we never know what people like. It's very, but a lot of like I saw that online. Like a lot of guys appeared to be, I'll say not disappointed, but like but Booth, we don't understand. Like if it was someone else, we'd understand. It was giving. If it was someone like Pro 2C or Mini Dlamini or Mihlali or whatever, we get it. But
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because that's the general sentiment of anyone, right? So like if even if you flip it onto like a woman's side, it's like, oh, if his wife, if Sonia cheated on Matthew with George Clooney or whatever, right? Then it's like Trey Songz. Then a lot of women will be like, but we understand, ha 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 ha, type of thing, right? Because it's like, but chief, that's Uzbaniban. Right, so I think we do it on both sides, but just because this seems like some regular ass shit, it's like, why would you do that? Because there's not really, it doesn't look like there's much of a difference on the surface, which is why I'm saying there must be something deeper, and we don't know. We don't know the extent to which their problems, or how deep they go. So, bruh, it's a puzzling one. But his wife aired him, bro. I was like,
oh no, she did. She did the
everything.
She tagged
wild.
both of them. She had receipts. She had his trips.
But I think that's where the relationship is truly done. Like, I didn't see the car tracker shit. But like that's where the relationship is dead. Because at that point, she can't take it back. Like, I wouldn't even allow you to take me back if you've gone and you've done that and you've embarrassed me in public. Then let's say, I don't know, a month later, like, babe, I overreacted. Let's try to work on the marriage. I'd be like, nah, Jack. There's no story. Like, that's, I think my policy is, once you do something like that, it's you have the right to say to yourself, I'm done, and it's like, okay, but understand, there is no, it touches a move, it's done. Like, there's no, if you feel like there is opportunity for people to sort of come back together, then sort it out internally, because once the public gets a hold of it, right, you no longer control that narrative. And we're going to talk about something just now where it's different but sort of similar. You guys will see the similarities. But once the public has, their sort of thoughts on it, once Thabo and Senna talking about it on a 6-foot weight, and, Bani, how many influencers in SA have made skits over this item, you know what I mean? Once it's out there, it's no one is going to respect that relationship anymore. Right. Whereas if it happened and then y'all deal with it internally, and with the right people, your therapists and family members, whatever, however people choose to deal with it, right? In general, people will still have respect for that relationship, because it's like, okay, cool, y'all have worked through whatever you've worked through, or the public by and large doesn't even know shit's going on. But the moment it's up there for public consumption, the day, like, think about it, if he shows up at Pick and Pay today, everyone's clowning him, right? Even if she shows up at Pick and Pay, people are looking like, hey, PT, or some dickhead is gonna make a cheesecake joke, right? So it's just you've aired Matthew, but also at the same time there's unintended consequences in that not everyone is going to be on the sympathy train for the wife. Others might still just have jokes or whatever they think they need to say to her. I do think she's opened herself up and the kids up as well.
I don't think very few people actually had like real genuine sympathy. So for example, I'll speak for me, right? I just found the whole thing funny. It's not like my first response wasn't to be empathetic to her, which probably it should have been in hindsight. But my initial thing was, LOL, ha, Thabo, look at this. Like, I think the first thing I did was I said it to her like Cheesecake type of thing, right? It wasn't I don't know. It wasn't, oh my gosh, this man has put this woman through a lot. And that's where I guess
I feel like the only sympathy comes with the kid and the birthday and the cheesecake. I think that's the only place I'm like, nah, that's fucked up. And not even because I'm a dad or whatever, but it's like, nah, I would be pissed, bro. I would personally, kid or no kid, I would be livid as his son, because as
the child,
think about the practicality of this thing. We could pay, like, and it's not even and as a kid probably you're pissed about the cake and the birthday more so than the relationship and your parents divorcing. As a kid, that's probably your mentality, because like you've gone to sleep, and again, anyone who's baked in their houses, no matter how big or small your house is,
bro,
baked goods,
smells.
The whole house is smelling like, sweet shit, bro. And I mean, I've never made a cheesecake in my life, but I'm sure it smells, if it smells anything like baking a cake or baking muffins or scones or whatever, fam, the aroma is there. And you're like, oh, and again, obviously, from weeks and years in past, someone is baking in the house. It means it's being shared for who? For the family. Like, even when my mom would like make scones, like, hey, I'm scones like hey, best believe there's like 10 items that are put on the side for the
that are set aside.
So it's not like these are getting shipped out. So as the kid, I'd be livid. Be like, bro, I slept the whole night thinking, right, it's about to go down. And I wake up in the morning and open the fridge and I'm looking at the margarine and ijam lamans. It's like, where's the cheesecake? I look in the oven. I can see clearly this oven was used, but like, hey, where's the stuff? And did they put out what his explanation was? Where did the cheesecake go?
No, he just like woke up. Apparently they woke up the next morning, the cake was gone. And he went and gifted it to his son.
It takes a lot of fuckery to make Tristan Thompson even look better than you, bro. Because nah, fam. This one is.
And she started posting like a whole bunch of things. So apparently he also dipped into his children's varsity funds.
Oh wow, he's all the way trash.
No, he's all the way trash. To entertain his other Adam, he also dipped into some of their savings, I think. And she has apparently been supporting him all this time. I don't think punditry for Supersport pays as well as it would.
That well.
Yeah, I don't think it pays that well. I don't think it pays as well as, in the UK or something like that. I don't think those guys get like big monies from Supersport for doing PSL games. But for the most part, I think Matthew Booth is. I wonder if he'll put out a statement or what he'll say. Supersport already said it's a private matter. We won't be taking any action. So I wonder what he'll say.
Oh, they distanced themselves with holding it. I seen Genili.
Yeah, no, they said I seen Genili.
Of which, there's really nothing they can do, right? Like if when it comes to infidelity of that sort, if it's not illegal.
No, it's not illegal.
There's not much you can do there's not much you can do as a company just besides, hey, bruh, a man needs to handle this shit.
Let him deal with it, Edwin.
But anyway, Mr. Moy, I hinted at I hinted at us having something kind of similar to talk about. Nat wanted to talk about, which is why I sad I couldn't record with you guys last week. But I don't think you guys touched on it. At least I don't remember. But she did touch on it with Tinto. So in the NBA, the coach of the Boston Celtics, she said NBA Premier League. Well, isn't that sometimes? so anyway, the NBA. There's no need for all that history. So the Boston Celtics are coached by a Nigerian-born, I think he's American now, but Nigerian-born coach by the name of Ime Udoka, right? And the Celtics, the last couple of seasons, have been struggling to make it to the NBA Finals, right? They've had good teams that have had good potential, but they've just not made it right to the very end. Last season was Ime Udoka's first season as a head coach ever in the NBA. He'd always been an assistant in other teams. And he managed to turn around the Celtics and take them all the way to the NBA Finals. So they played in the NBA Finals this year against Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. They lost. It's a best. So in the NBA Finals, in the NBA playoffs in general, you play a best of 7 series. So it's not one game for all the marbles. It's a best of 7. So first to 4 wins. So they lost to the Warriors 4-2 in the series, and the Warriors obviously were NBA champions of 2022. Anyway, fast forward to the summer months. Was it summer? I guess it was September there, right? I think somewhere, probably saw the news, September, October, somewhere there. No. Yeah, September-ish. August, September, somewhere there. The news comes out. The Celtics have suspended this new coach who got them to the NBA Finals for a full season. Suspended, he's no longer coaching the team. And people are like, what the fuck? What's going on? And it turns out that he was having a consensual relationship with an employee, but it broke team policies. So because it broke team policies, they've suspended him for a year, and they'll re-evaluate at the end of the year. So it became obviously a big scandal because in unlike the Matthew Booth case, Ime Udoka is he's the fiance. I don't think they're married, but he's the fiance of Nia Long, like J. Cole Nia Long, that Nia Long. right? So they've been in a relationship for years and years. I think they have a son as well, but they're not married. I think they're engaged, if I'm not mistaken, or they're just life partners, but they're not married. That's what I know. So Ime cheated on Nia with some office employee who was not named, and he got suspended. She was not, and that's kind of what we know for sure. Everything else was speculation. So I won't talk about the stuff that's speculatory. So that's the whole situation, right? I was very, very uneasy about the way the Celtics handled the situation.
Yeah.
Only because I was disappointed, because it's like, this happens a lot in sports, especially like professional sports leagues. Like, trust me, if you speak to anyone in those circles, or if you read a lot of articles that come out, right? If you're really into your sport, this is like, it happens a lot. And NBA players sleep with Uzbani, coaches do this, Like, there's always scandals, right? But the common thread,
they're not exactly saints.
Yeah, no one is a saint. No one is a saint, right? But then for me, it's the way that it's handled. A lot of the time, these never get out into the public, and no one is ever paraded around where we're making, and again, this is it in talk of, like, we're talking about consensual relationships where it's like, okay, Uzbani cheated, stole this person's girl, what. That's the only context we're talking in, right? The stuff where it's like XXX person was harassed, raped, blah blah blah, that's different. You make that public because it needs to be, right? But in Ime Udoka's case, from what they reported as a team from their findings, I was disappointed, because I'm like, bro, no one gets this type of treatment. You are supposed to sort that out internally. If you want to suspend him, you suspend him. Sharp, right? If he broke team policy, he broke team policy. But like, to go out in public and be like, yeah, hey, he had a consensual relationship. For me, I was like, bruh, at least, not at least, but like, why are you, if you're telling us that, it's a consensual relationship, I'm like, okay, then why are you telling us? You know what I mean? No one was clamoring for the story.
Yeah.
Like, y'all could have just suspended him, like, no, it's a team thing, and which other teams have done this in the past. No, it's a team matter, but this guy is suspended for 2 games. Done. It's done. And then people can speculate.
I think once you do that with a coach, it will come out still, right? So I think they were trying to get ahead of it before it leaks.
Okay.
So it will leak somehow. So it's one of those things where I think so it's two-pronged. It's a consensual relationship, yes, but it's an improper relationship in the sense that they're both staff.
Yeah.
So there might be an element of one person abusing their power and influence over maybe a junior staffer to,
But why not then say that? Because now, again, I'm in a position where if I'm supposed to feel like, hey, Ime Vele, you should be suspended, then I feel like you should put out information where I'm like, this man should be suspended. Don't put it out in a way where I'm like, okay, but he's saying it's a consensual relationship both ways. So, Mama Lo, why is she not suspended as well? Because she broke team policy. She broke team policy too, right? If it's a consensual relationship, then she did break team. If your excuse is team policy, then that's a different story. So that's why I was like, nah, I'd have wanted to have seen that policy applied across the board. And guess what happened? Because they didn't name, and I'm not saying they should have named the lady, but because they handled it the way they handled it, the internet now went on a frenzy to try and identify Ugutimubal, right? So now you have NBA insiders, you have people in the team like who are leaking information here and there, and people are putting together theories. And then all of a sudden, I think two women who went alleged by the Celtics, these were not the women, but those 2 women were now all over social media. With like one of them, I think was the one that I saw was like a white woman who again wasn't as attractive as Nia Long. So now it became like, oh wow, you cheated on Nia for this, bowl of mayonnaise, like it just became this whole thing. Where now imagine
cheating down.
Yeah, so like imagine you're that woman who you're doing your job for the Celtics, you're just going about your day, all of a sudden you're trending on Twitter because apparently you slept with the coach, which you didn't. You know what I mean? Like, so again, I didn't think this needed to become public knowledge, just, or if it's going to become public, they should have gone at it in a much better way, because now there was collateral damage, which didn't need to be. Because if I'm that woman or those women, I'm pissed. Because like, bruh, nyenze. I'm not catching offsides. My family and friends are seeing me, deconstructed pamgwabantu, dehumanized pamgwabantu. People are just having a laugh. So I those are the two very big issues that I had. I'm like, now, if it's consensual, apply the policy across the board. And also, again, if it's consensual, then handle it in-house as a team and apply whatever punishments that you need to apply. Go ahead and suspend the brother and, do whatever you need to do. But like the way that they did it, I don't know. To me, it just left a very, very poor taste in my mouth.
I can see that. I think I chatted to Nat about this briefly, but the other side of it is, obviously, I think I spoke about the improper relationship, blah, right?
Yeah.
There's an element which I mentioned to Nat, Wuti, because it's near long, a lot of people were just like incredibly outraged and overreacted, as if there are some people that deserve to be cheated on and others who don't deserve to be cheated on.
Yeah.
So when the suspension came, I'm sure it was just for improper misconduct, and he could come back, I'm sure, after like a while, and the disciplinary process is gone. I think they were trying to get ahead of it before it comes out, but they also weren't trying to disclose a lot of information. But in the age of the internet, once you say he's suspended because of an improper relationship, people will be like, with who? Let's find out. And then people vumbuled pictures of that woman so quickly, like within a day, we already knew who she was and stuff like that. The outrage that came about it, unfortunately for me, I think it was like, guys, these things happen, get tolagala. There's no need, because it's near long, I get it. A lot of us had a crush on her growing up and all these things. But it happens. Get tolagala. Let's move from it. Let the guy keep his job. Let him come back and coach.
And the Nigerian man and trash team were out in full strength again. I was like, it was honestly hilarious. But then I want to ask you a question. So, given that we can I say we both agree, Uti, this story, Ime Udoka story, is far from rare. It happens a lot in professional sports. Can we agree on that?
Oh no, it does.
Okay.
It happened in the White House, for crying out loud.
Yeah, exactly. So now my question to you is, if you're the general manager of the Boston Celtics, this guy is just taking you in 1 year to the NBA Finals, right? Then this scandal happens, or with the details that you have. And then another layer is that their division rival, right, the Brooklyn Nets, have just fired their coach. And it's widely expected that within the next couple of days, they're going to hire Ime Udoka. And the thought is that the Celtics are not going to take him back. He's suspended, but after that, he's going to get fired. Of which I'm like, bro, why didn't you guys just fire him? You know what I mean? Like, if he's broken the rules, he's broken the rules. Fire the man. Why are you leaving? I'm out to dangle. You know what I mean? Like, just either be like, you're suspended for the first month of the season, or be like, you're fired. We don't tolerate that. Which is also fine. Every team has the right to that policy. But then, anyway. So now their rival team is in need of a coach. Ime is a fantastic coach, right? From a basketball point of view, he's exactly who you want to have. And the Brooklyn Nets are struggling, and they need that type of defensive-minded coach. So that's the situation now. You've suspended your coach, and it's very likely he's going to go to your rival team, who you're going to meet in the playoffs, and probably they will beat you because they've got two really, really good players. But anyway, that's a basketball argument. But as the general manager said, would you feel like you did the right thing, right? Given that this is now the situation, your rivals are circling now to just hire. They're sorting out the PR item, because obviously it's a PR nightmare for them. But they're like, okay, once we figure out our PR socials, we're going for that guy. how would you feel as the general manager of the Celtics, knowing what he's accomplished and also that he's going across the road to the other team?
I'd firstly communicate with him clearly that, my guy, we're not letting you go. It's just a matter of policy.
No. So in this context, like the Celtics have essentially said, no, Tina, we're done with him. Right, that's the situation.
Oh, okay.
So I'm saying, if you're looking in retrospect, would you feel as a GM you did the right thing or handled the situation properly?
No. I'd feel like I overreacted. I would definitely feel like I overreacted. Because you've lost a good coach over personal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you've lost a good coach over something which was in his personal life. It probably didn't warrant a dismissal. He's gone. Fine. But I think there's an element of trying to be a moral preacher or virtue signal from the GM or from the Celtics in this regard. Because it's like, my guys.
Yeah, because again, if it was a fireable offense, they would have fired him straight out.
They would have fired him straight away.
No, bye-bye. Done. You know what I mean? Like, the suspension was what was weird for me. It's like, okay, for like the season-long suspension. Because it never happened.
Unless the policy, unless their own employment policy doesn't allow, or US labor laws don't allow for a termination.
Or you think they'd be in the wrong if they terminated him?
Potentially. You know, it's like how Thingy is still a Man United player right now. Mason Greenwood, he's suspended pending the trial.
Wait, is he still getting paid though?
He should still be getting paid. Yeah,
that's wild.
Maybe like a portion of his salary. I think he should still be getting it. He's not fired. He's just suspended. He can't play. He can't train. He can't be at Carrington until he's been convicted. Once he's convicted, then.
So so what happens if Mason Mount is found not guilty?
Then United have a conundrum, right? Because technically he'll come back to United and say, right, I've been found not guilty. Yeah. Let me back into the team. And if his contract
so
is
legally,
still valid,
he has a point.
He would have a point if it comes to
that.
If he's found not guilty and then he comes back and his contract is still like maybe got like another year or two left to run, he'll come and say, guys, let me back into the team. And they could let him back and they could just choose not to select him, the same way that Arsenal did with like Ozil or something.
Oh, just kind of parked on the side.
Yeah, parked on the side, because also even if he's found innocent, I think his career's done. I think the outrage from just the voice notes that we heard alone.
Yeah, no, he's essentially cancelled. He would need
and
to
it's
go
the
and
same
play
with,
for like Besiktas or something.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you know Elton Yankees. So Elton Yankees is a South African rugby player. He is basically backup fly half for the Springboks. So he's a number 10. One of the best kickers around. He's probably second on the list in the country after Andre Pollard. But he was caught having an affair with the team dietitian. And and they were having an affair for a while. So he got suspended from the Springboks camp, so he's no longer in the box team for the time being. She was also, I think, sent home because apparently they were just doing the most. And he's married with 2 kids, and the Springboks are like, no, we just need you to take time out from the team, go rehabilitate, and then come back when you're
what you've enlightened. What you've enlightened right now is what in general for anyone who doesn't know, in professional sports, the level of tolerance a team will bear towards you, which is why the Ime situation was shocking for me. If you're great at what you do, especially I'm talking specifically from like a player's point of view, if you're that guy, right, like in the MVP conversation on a consistent basis, so if you're a generational talent, they will tolerate you to the nth degree. They will do the most to accommodate you as fucked up as you are, because talent is not easy to come by. Generational talent is not easy to come by. So if you're amazing there's a statement to know with therapy, and then we'll evaluate.
Exactly.
And like an easy example, I'll give you 2 examples. In the NFL, there was a player who was a running back, right, called Ray Rice. And Ray Rice, this was before social media really got going like the way it is. But he hit his wife, or I think it was his wife, if I'm not mistaken. They got into an argument in an elevator, and he like literally knocked her out. But initially, when the case came out, he was a great running back, but he was on the way down, right? So it's not like he was like at the peak of his powers, but he was still very serviceable. Any team would pick him up, and you'd be happy to pick up Ray Rice, yeah. So he then has this altercation with his wife, and no one has seen the video. It's just word of mouth. And the NFL's initial sort of reaction was kind of like, sorry, wait, whatever, make a statement. And I think he was only suspended for like, a couple of games, maybe 5-6 games, something like that, right? Suspended for that. Which in the NFL, it's about a 17-game season, right? So maybe about half the season or something like that, he got suspended. Maybe it was even less than that, but it was not the worst thing in the world. And people kind of, talk shit about the NFL, but like it was one of those things that the news cycle will move on, and we move, right? That had been the culture of the NFL for a while. And then the video then came out maybe a week or 2 later or something like that, right? When the video came out and you actually, bro, he hit her, bro. And like, this is an NFL players are rugby players.
Huge.
So you know how these rugby owners hit the gym.
Yeah.
Like, they're strong as fuck. This own coconut empama for his, like, bro, it was, so even I saw that, I was like, oh shit, right? So obviously the whole world goes, oh shit, right? So guess what? Ray Rice never played another down in the NFL after that. Like, done. He was out, right? But then
he was finished.
If he was the old Ray Rice, who was at the peak of his powers, I'm pretty sure they would have said, we'll give him a season-long suspension and give him therapy and what. But it was because he was on, they did, a cost-benefit analysis. You know what? He's good to okay at this point. Is this worth all the noise publicly? And the answer was no. So the NFL, quietly talks to the owners, and like the owners talk amongst each other. What, cash group, and they just softly push you out, and then all of a sudden you're on the outside. But then if you look at the other case, it's another NFL player. Like I don't know if his case is for some people it could be an even more egregious case. But essentially, this quarterback, he's a really, really good quarterback, like fantastic quarterback. His name is Deshaun Watson. He caught a bunch of cases because he was essentially, how like I'm a professional players get sports massages, right? It's just you have masseuses all over the teams, right? Yeah. So with his professional, his personal massages, like he would get on the team to stretch him out, the masseuses that he would hire, he would make them or implore them to, I think, effectively jerk him off. I don't know, but it was inappropriate to do inappropriate things to him. Okay. Right? When you
so basically, it was soliciting happy endings from the team.
Exactly.
From the team.
So I don't know if they were the team masseuses but because he would also get like his own type of sports. Like, but again, the women's jobs were, I do sports massages for athletes, right? Those type of women. So that's what he was doing, and then I think probably like 20 women or something like that. I'd have to read the case again, who came out and said, me too. So it was peak for the next term, because hey, bruh, like these women are coming out of the woodworks and shit. And then also there's others who, he claimed, these guys are just grabbing money because now there's like a hot case, blah, 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 blah. So his situation became slightly complicated. But again, for the most part, he was able to shut down, I'd say 3/4 of the claims, but there were like 3 or 4 that like stuck, right? And because those ones stuck, he got suspended. He got a suspension from the NFL as soon as he was done with the court. But publicly, he was not convicted. So they said the grand jury said we're not convicting the next one. So now it was shitty for the NFL because the US government has said no. The NFL now had to step up as an organization to land their own hammer of justice. Yeah, well. And the NFL initially, because they've had a bunch of cases like this in the past, they then hired an independent arbiter who is a former judge. I think she sat on the bench or whatever. And she went through the case, and she follows the NFL's bylaws and came to a decision. And what was funny is she recommended a 6-game suspension, which is really, really low, right?
That is low.
But the reason she recommended a 6-game suspension, because the NFL was like, right, we've got a judge independent from us, no one can blame us. 2, this judge is a woman. Yeah, really, we're perfect, right? Then it didn't really work out that way. It was funny. The judge goes, right, I can only recommend a 6-game suspension. You know why? Because of your own bylaws as the NFL do not allow me to give him more than a 6-game suspension. The way your laws and your rules are written, the way they set up. So in as much as she put it in her summary, in her findings, in as much as I feel like this own is disgusting and what he's done is horrible, and I believe the women and blah 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 blah. She put it out there, but I have to follow the law. And your bylaws as the NFL do not allow me to go more than 6 games. So then obviously the NFL is now back in the doghouse, because it's like, hey, and winning NFL, blah blah blah. I laughed about that just because I was like, it's crazy how the NFL manages to set themselves up this way for failure all the time. It didn't make any sense. So they have to make the changes internally. So it showed me how unserious they are to make a meaningful change, because you should have these policy changes to say, okay, this is an automatic suspension or a season long or a 2 season or whatever. But anyway, the commissioner came into it and he vetoed the judge's decision, and I think they upped the suspension to 13 games. So he's coming back, I think, to play his first game maybe next week or the week after, something along those lines. Right. So anyway, my point was, you look at the Ray Rice situation, he was funneled out of the league because he was past his prime. Deshaun Watson is arguably still in his prime. This is how, and what's even funnier is that he got traded from his team. He played for the Houston Texans, and he got traded to the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns redid his contract that he had at the Texans. He was due a payday, which is what I'm saying. He's peaking into his prime. So this was the super contract that this is going to be your biggest, most lucrative one, and they gave it to him. The Cleveland Browns gave it to him, like $200 million, bro. In the middle of this case, they gave him the sheets, and they set it up in a way. And this is, bro, these are the men. They set it up in a way that they knew the NFL was going to levy a suspension, but they set up the contract in a way Kona. It's millions. Let's say it's something like 20 million a season, right, for the next 5 years or something like that. The first, the pay salary for the first half of the season, or the first or the largest chunk of the season, was going to be so low. He was only losing $400,000. That's all that he was losing.
That's it.
So, yeah, that's it.
But I guess that's how sports has a weird way of approaching these things, and it's always going to be, as you said, if someone is at their peak, it's hush, it's buried, and we'll find a way to move on.
Yeah.
Even though we all know what to eat. So the easiest example in football, Ronaldo. Cristiano, when he was at United, just before he went to Madrid, that's when the alleged case he had where he apparently raped that woman. It's like back then it was hush money, NDAs, quiet, and it was buried. Like no one knew about it until, when was it? 2018, when it resurfaced again, and even then, because he was still like Cristiano, peak of his powers, World Cup year, it was like, we're not going to entertain it. Illegally it was done, and then he still made the moves from Madrid to Juve to United easy with no stress. And it's just the bigger you are as a star, the more forgiving sports is, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's actually quite, you know, it's sad. That's where the mentality is. But again, people have to make business decisions, which is why I asked you that question as a general manager, because as a general manager, you're looking at, bro, this is Cristiano Ronaldo, arguably the greatest of all time. How can I get away with still having him on the team? That is the mentality of the general manager, because if you lose Ronaldo and your team doesn't do well, you're running, you know, Real Madrid or whatever, the biggest club in the world, arguably, right? And President Perez, he ain't having that shit. No, Hazwana president, this man called a case. You ain't having that shit. That's your ass on the line. That's your money, your family security, your reputation. Like all these things, you know, people are making business decisions off of that, you know?
Just to interrupt you, Mr. Maps, as we speak right now, guess who's released a statement?
Matthew Booth.
Yes.
Matthew Booth.
Yes.
Try.
It is with the utmost sadness and disappointment that my wife, Sonia Booth, resorted to airing these unfounded allegations on all public platforms with an intention to tarnish my name without discussing them with me, and without considering the damage that these allegations will cause to especially our minor children who are in the middle of their final exams, and to the Mtombeni Mula family, his side chick's family, or alleged side chick. The matter has been handed over to my attorneys, who have been instructed to vigorously take the necessary steps to claim the appropriate relief. I will leave this to the legal system and let the truth prevail in due course. I would like to appeal to Mrs. Mtombeni Mula, that's Bongani, his alleged side chick. She cooperates and I would like to appeal to Mrs. Mtombeni Mula, the corporates and sponsors who have partners with the Booth Trust for the development and advancement of soccer initiatives to not allow this personal matter to deter the good work that's being done and that which lies ahead.
Like a true toxicon, he's dying with
and he tagged his wife in the statement.
Is this on Twitter?
It's on Twitter. It's on Twitter. But he just
posted
it.
That's a different layer. That's a different layer, fam.
But funny enough, so Samuel actually said this when this whole story was going along. Nguti, and I'll tag him in this. He said that Uguti, there's no proof that what Tumaske is saying is the real deal, because all she was saying was like allegations.
No, but the receipts that she posted, were those not proof?
I guess they were, but it's not proof that he was actually like doing something, right? It's proof that he went away. It's proof that he went and had lunch somewhere. He baked the cake. He might have given her the cake, but is it proof that they were sleeping together? Anyways.
Well, round two. Let's go.
We'll be back next week.
Hey, days of our lives, bro. That's what. But again, this is what I'm saying. Once you do it publicly, this is now our entertainment. You know, like again, in the grand scheme of things, I don't care. I don't care about his relationship. You know, I'm not down. But it's like, this entertains me, so I'm gonna keep track of it. You know, like you said, and it's like you never ever want your relationship to be in that space where it's like, it's just you're putting everything out there and people are just kind of laughing, because like you said, there's no real sympathy here. We're not like, oh my god, this is, you know, this is days of our lives, this is passions.
You feel him?
You feel him, bro. Bunzima for real.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's keep it moving, Mr. Moy. Onto a bit more of a funny topic. Another one that you need to explain. So there's this club that was naming and shaming people for not paying the bill. So, what exactly was going on?
So Saints Lounge is a club in Cape Town. I think they may have many chains also. I'm not aware of that, but it's basically, it's a nightclub. It's a lounge, type place situation like a Yep Yep and Cubana and those type of places. So what's happened here is apparently people don't pay their tabs when they go drink at Saints. So people will rack up like a whole 15K bill and not pay, or a whole 20K bill.
How do you get away with that?
I guess if you know the management, you say, no guys, I'll send the money tomorrow, or I don't know. There's ways.
Okay.
I think you can get away with it, and I think it is possible. Like if you're like a frequenter at a certain establishment, like I think we go to Cubana like a couple of times. Well, I only actually ever go when you're around, to be honest. But let's say it was a thing where we went like all the time, and then we know like the manager. We're like, no, listen, we'll send.
Oh,
we'll take
do you know the management?
Yeah, we'll take a picture of this bill. We'll send the money on Monday, or something like that, or we'll send it tomorrow.
He'd be cool.
Yeah, he'd be cool. He'd be cool. So I think it turns out a lot of people do this, and then clubs are forgiving because, it's better to have the money come in late than not have the money at all, I guess. But then people end up not paying. So what Saints decided to do, instead of doing the usual legal debt collectors way where you send lawyers letters and you try to get them, and they decided, no, we're going to name and shame these people who don't pay their tabs. So first they posted like a threatening post on Twitter, and they were like, we're giving all those people who owe us money 24 hours or else we name and shame. And then they did. 24 hours later they started naming all these guys who are ballers, big ballers at the club. They are constantly flexing about Tinder swindler vibes. Guys who come to the club, they're balling, and then they link the IG profile, like, this guy owes us 15K, this guy owes us 12K,
Sheesh.
This guy owes us whatever, right? Now I have a lot of thoughts on that, because I don't know what Saints expects to happen, first of all, from shaming these people, whether or not it will force them to pay. I guess because of the whole club aesthetic is Uguti, you're supposed to look rich, you're supposed to look powerful, you're supposed to look bougie. So once people are like, hey, you can't actually pay for the bottles that you order, it taints your reputation and dents your image that you like to portray at the club, I guess. But lento le ukuthi people are drinking eskwelete, I'm shocked by that. Like, there's a lot of things that do on credit. Alcohol is not one of them.
I feel like wait, so do you mean as in from a consumer point of view, or as in from the company point of view, allowing people?
I understand why the company allows it. The company allows it because
I don't.
I think I do, because they'll still get the money, right? So their hope is the money's still coming. Rather, we let this person rack up the bill and pay it later than we try and get Senna and Thabo to come in and spend 1,000 tonight and that's it, right? You'd rather get like a sure thing, people who are going to. You'd rather that the 15K comes in,
but clearly
on Monday.
It's not a sure thing if they're having to name and shame, so the money's not there.
True. I guess that's the other.
My policy would be like maximum 2 squares a night. Like, that's it. If someone like, I've spent 25K and Jan's and Liga on Monday, okay, sure. Only one other person can do it, and it's first come first serve. After that, we're not allowing anyone to walk out and lose it. Like, nah. Because in the States, what they do, I don't think they do this in SA. You open a tab, so they'll take your card, and then they will block out a certain amount of money, or they'll just be billing you. So when you now close the tab, so it's right, Kwapa, here's the money that you owe us, here's your card, done.
Wait, what do they mean? So they take it, they deduct it from your card automatically, like they set it off from your card. when
Yeah.
you don't enter PIN or any of that?
Mm-mm.
I'm not
So
sure.
they literally, like, kind of like a hotel can do it, right? A hotel can, so for incidentals, whatever. Like last week I gave them my credit card, like, right, we're gonna block out 150, we're gonna take 150, and then this is gonna be if you order room service or any damages, guatin. Then if nothing, then that 150 will be returned to your card. So that's the same thing with like opening a tab, where you're right, sharp, then when Senna's done drinking and it's like, okay, Senna's total tally is, $500, cool. We then charge you $500. But we know Imali Kwan type of thing.
I see. I wouldn't be comfortable with that. Just because the idea of a bank having my card, I'm not a bank, sorry, of the club having my card, like a waiter. I think I've seen too many scams in South Africa to be scared, because these people will do the most with your bank.
Yeah. So obviously in SA, there's
I'm
trust
just
factor.
not comfortable with that.
But then also what you have to understand in the US is like with fraud and stuff like that. They've got, what I'll give America like applause for is fraud protection. So like literally, I think I can't remember what happened with me, but there was like I don't know, somehow someone got a hold of my card details in uni and started buying a whole bunch of random shit off the PlayStation store. And I wasn't, maybe this someone could have been my little brother, but who knows? But anyway, so someone had my banking details and they started like proper, like $30, $40, $50, $10, like shit was leaving my account, right? And I was like, what the fuck? So then I called my bank and I was like, guys, this is not me. I didn't make these transactions. I don't know what's going on. And they said, okay, we're going to block the card. And they gave me back my money, like with minimal explanation. They said, okay, how much is it? And which transactions? And I said, this one, these 5 transactions are not me. And they gave me back the sheets. So like America's fraud protection is proper. So I think that's also what lends to like, if a waiter went and did the most, right? Then, you know your money is protected regardless by your bank. But also at the same time, what companies or what club or establishment is willing to risk scamming you when they have much, much more important licenses to try and keep, and if they get into legal trouble, they get shut down, So it's everybody has some shit to lose at the end of the day. I think that's why it works.
Okay. I see. But back to people who actually order alcohol on credit. What are your thoughts on that? Because in my head, like I said earlier, I don't view alcohol as something that I need to get on credit.
So I agree with you. I don't think it makes any sense. So like what I typically do is I will use my credit card to make purchases just for fraud and shit like that, because it's like I'd rather risk the bank's money than mine. That's kind of my mentality. But no matter what I'm spending, I know I've got the cash on hand. So if I go out and I've spent $500, then I can quickly pay that $500 back because it was always there in my checkings. So that's kind of how I look at it. So I think we're doing the same thing just in slightly different ways. But in terms of uhamba, and it's just like, yeah, but later, right? I'm not a fan of that, and I don't really do that just because it can get messy. And also, what's like, I'm not the type of drinker where it's like I have to, have alcohol. Yeah. Maybe there's other things that I'm like, yeah, you know what? A pair of sneakers, I might finance that shit. Like, right, you know what? I want these sneakers right now. I'm going to pay them off over the next 3 months, right? That I can.
Yes, you're also not going to piss them away in 5 hours.
Exactly. So for me, alcohol is
there.
Not on the priority level to that point where I'm like, no, I need to go into debt for alcohol. Like, it's just, for other people, it could be, like maybe we're just the wrong target market where it's like, but again, it's not really about the alcohol. In this case, like you said, it's about the aesthetic. It's about the reputation, right? So he's probably getting social credit or she's probably getting social. He. Anyway, it's only men who are stupid enough to do this. But he's probably getting a lot of social credit from this, right? In one way or another. Where it's like, oh, did you see Senna? Senna came in with 4 bottles of Ace, you know, and it's not the Vev, not the Ace, you know, that all that shit, right? So I think that's
probably 5.
Yeah, Lama have like 5. Yeah. So
Guys, clubs make money from us. Yes, it's all the stupid shit.
Yeah, no, they do. It's a business, bro. It's a business. But then he probably makes it back, and people say, hey, come to our club. We'll give you free booze because you've got this reputation. What. So I understand. No, I don't understand why an individual would do it, because I don't know what the actual story is. But I'm just volunteering, which maybe is making it back in another way that we just don't see on the surface.
Yeah, so probably the thing that you may be right about is, so I look at sneakers and a car and a house and all these other things that you might get on credit as something which you eventually own. So once you pay back the money for whatever it is, you still have the sneakers to wear as many times as you want. You still have the car to drive wherever you want. And you still have the house to enjoy until Jesus comes, God knows when. You know, there's a long-term sort of ownership that comes with some of the things that you get on credit. With alcohol, I didn't get that, right? So it'll probably be the same. Alcohol, food, to some extent, because those are like proper consumables, right? You're consuming those. You're not taking ownership and then going elsewhere. But as you say it now, there's probably a huge social capital that comes with that after you've done all those things, which then means maybe that's the thing that you own afterwards. People have respect for you. People look at you differently. You can interact with some people at a higher level. If you do those things, you have access to women and and stuff, which some people might view as the long-term benefit. I'm just not seeing it personally.
Yeah, me too, bro. It honestly it baffles me, to be honest. But I mean, it is what it is. It's society. But we are running out of time, Mr. Moy. So let's speed through a couple of things. One thing that I wanted to mention when I was in the States, bro, that place is sad, man. Like it's actually shocking. I went to a CVS, right, which is it's a pharmacy. It's like going to Clicks or Discount. And what shocked me, right? So if you walk into Clicks, if you found certain things, are they or let me ask you this, because you would know better than me. Are there certain products that are locked? Like you have to get the umuntu awares who you unlock it for you to get said item.
So certain bottles at Tops, I know that if you buy like a bottle of, sometimes even something as simple as vodka or gin, it'll be.
I know, like Henny and like some of the other premium bottles are definitely.
Yeah, Henny as well. Someone has to come with the key. Yeah, unlock it for you.
So shit like that makes sense.
Yeah.
So then, I'm at a pharmacy.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for toothpaste and what I want? I wanted toothpaste and I wanted deo. Those are the two things that I want: toothpaste and deodorant. And I go to the aisle, I see, okay, toiletries or whatever it is. I go, okay, aisle 5. Colgate and like Shield or whatever. Some shit that cost $2. Right? My total bill was $5. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I go and I have to find Umuntu who works, of which there's barely. It's a huge store, like it's the size of your normal Clicks, right? Imagine having Clicks and 3 employees total have to service the entire Clicks. 3. So I'm like, bruh, like, so I'm running around looking, and eventually I find someone like, hey, can I get some toothpaste, please? And then she goes, yeah, sure. And I'm like, so I'm walking with her back to the aisle where I found it, and I'm like, why do you guys have this, locked? And she was like, no, because people steal. And I was like, steal? Like toothpaste? And she was like, yeah. And at this point, I'm in Manhattan. I'm on Wall Street, bro. And I'm like, God, this is the financial district. I mean, like, at least if I'm in a ghetto neighborhood, it's like, okay, fine, okay, all right, I can understand.
I see.
But like, we're talking, Lower Manhattan is like even, Midtown. I was like, Kanti, what's going on? What's going on? So like, at the end of the day, it just didn't make sense to me as to why, shit was just basic stuff was locked away. But looters, land, people steal. And I was like, this is really, really sad. And then I went to Macy's just before I left. And like, again, the theme I kept seeing from a lot of these stores is that they were understaffed by a lot. Like, you would expect, like in Macy's, I'd say is the size of it's like going to Edgar's. Literally, size of Edgar's. And I couldn't find, there were not enough people. I would have to walk at least 3-4 minutes to look for someone, maybe even 5-6 minutes to find some shit, because there were just no normally there's people drifting, folding clothes, Justin J drifting around.
Then you'll find someone just be like, oh sorry, can you help me with this, and then they'll come.
Exactly. But I couldn't find them. And I was like, and this was not when I left, and I left in 2017. So when I left, it was really, really sad. Side note, my American accent is still there. It's still alive and well. I was like, I missed you, buddy. But overall,
so what, did you turn it up when you
sad.
got there?
Oh no, it turned itself up, fam. It came out of nowhere. I was like, oh, we rolling them R's, and like, oh shit, okay, it's still in the bones. I was like, all right, it's all good. So I that was my big, and also the influx of immigrants, shocking. Like, just like pure, States. This is an Indian straight from India type of thing, right? And I was like, oh wow, like bro, it was, again, I'm not that I have a problem with that, right? But it was very stark. Like almost every Uber driver that I had was an immigrant. And I was like, wow, like this place really has changed. It was crazy. But yeah, it's America's not in a good place, bro. It's a dream. What you guys see on TV, a manga. It's peak over there.
I actually did want to ask you about the US in general, right? So Zola actually once said, I think he said the first time we went to America, this is in an interview, he said the first time we went to America was when Tsotsi was nominated for an Oscar, I think.
An Oscar?
Yeah, and they actually won. So he's like, yeah, I remember I was in the States and I thought, hey, the States is amazing, and I was excited. And then I got there and I was like, I don't give kukule that we see Soweto, I'm a trailer park, but now America, blah, blah, blah. I'm a lokshini, I'm a projects. It's overrated. What you see on TV is good marketing. And I was like, oh, really?
Which is 100%
you think that's accurate? It's just good marketing.
Yeah, I think it really is just good marketing, just because at the end of the day, again, they'll show you what they want to show you, right? That's, it's marketing, right? But a lot of the stuff that is in America, like, it's just, even the Macy's of it looked dingy, dog. And Macy's is when I would go there to like pick up my mom's stuff, Macy's was, hey, bro, it was tops. It was looking good. This one, they're failing to store certain things. Some things you're like, bro, this thing has been here for months. No one has touched it. Other places are looking brand new. Others are looking like, yo, this needs someone. And then like, it had a lot going on where it was clear that consumers are not buying from brick and mortar stores. They're just not. And they're struggling to keep up. Because there was even I think by the time I was leaving, there was a big brand called Sears. And it was pretty similar to Game, I would say. And they closed up. Because but they were all over America, bro. Like, I think Toys R Us also died. So these type of stores, these legacy stores, they're shutting down, and people are not looking to work for them with the level of wages that they're paying. So America is not in a good place right now. It was very, very alarming. And yeah, and also the tip culture there is so aggressive, bro. And I don't understand aggressive tip culture when the service is not good. I've realized that Dubai has really, really, really spoiled me. It's like my colleagues and I, every day we had something to bitch about. Every day, bro. Like I have suitcases. The Uber driver comes and he's sitting in the front seat. I'm like, Chief, who's going to open this boot? like on some bougie shit. Like literally, I'm like, bro, you expect me to put my own luggage in the car? You know, so again, Dubai also has skewed me a lot. Like there's certain thing, like even like
just in terms of expectations
when I go to a restaurant,
and standards and stuff.
If I'm dropping more than $50 at a restaurant, like there's a certain level of service. I'm dropping $200. There's a certain level of service that I expect. And like in America, it was like, you know, these guys and girls felt like they could do bare minimum. And it's like, 18% tip. I'm like, but for what though? You know what I mean? Like if you're going to be in the service industry, like here, again, it's a different dynamic. But like someone in the service industry is in the service industry. Like if I even kalala once, and I'm like, hey, really, this restaurant is shit, what? Them niggas will call me back and be like, yo, come back. This meal is free. We're going to make sure, right? That's the culture here.
Make sure that
Dubai is all about reputation, aesthetics, selling that dream. So like if the dream is not dreaming, then it's like, there's a big problem. But in America, it was like, like with some, when I was in Leroy, when we went out for dinner, they took forever to bring our food, bro. I think we ordered in 6, and these were just like burgers, so nothing amazing. And it took almost 50 minutes to get the burgers out, and in which Leroy's took an hour because she forgot to put in his order. So she had to go and pray to God that someone else in the restaurant has ordered the same burger to go and hijack that item in the kitchen and give it to Leroy. So all of these things is like, bruh, like this wouldn't happen at a restaurant that's charging this much money. Like we weren't used to that type of stuff. So I was like, me, if someone said go back to America, I'd be like, I'm easy, I'm okay. Like it's
you're chilled, you're good.
Yeah, no, I'm chill. Like it's like, bro, it was like essay levels of incompetence sometimes with some of the customer service, bro. Like I was just like, we might as well just cuss.
Although Cape Town tries.
I think I'm trying to think of Cape Town. For the most part, yeah, Cape Town is cool. I don't think I've had a horrible experience anywhere. But I mean, Joburg, I can give you at least 4. Joburg, I can give you at least 4. Where I'm like,
I think Cape Town, because it's like a tourist city, so standards have to be a bit high.
Yeah, the tourism.
The rest of the country you struggle. Like, I went to Durban with the fam earlier on in the year, and we're like, okay, food's taking long, drinks are taking long. It's just not happening the way you expect it to happen. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Certain parts will have you think about life differently. But no, I'm glad the States was good in any event.
No, it was definitely a good time. But I wanted to, so before we get out of here, let me see if I can jump into, we just got to see Azama now. So let me see if we can go through it, because I've got like literally 4 minutes. Okay. Let me see here. So this listener says, just finished listening to the You Spoof 1 month episode. Which one was that one? Oh, that was the one we just did now, is it?
Really? It was the one we... Okay.
I think it's the most recent one. The most recent one me and you did. But anyway, it says, it was the one, because she goes on to say, it was good to have you guys back. I read the Twitter thread you mentioned, and I've come to the realization that your upbringing generally determines your approach to relationships. This might be controversial, but here it goes. From my research, people who grew up in private schools, cheese boys or cheese girls, have that cheese boy, cheese girl lifestyle, don't really expect to be taken care of like that. Those relationships are more 50-50 because we're taught independence from a young age. Whereas my friends who grew up in the government high density suburbs, this person trying to get us into trouble.
This person wants smoke.
This person is like, now you see, this is a search that we try to tiptoe around, because people get moony about this. But anyway, talk with that. So yeah,
Very
she says
easily.
the high density suburbs environment expect to be taken care of by a man, or the man wants a submissive yebo baba type of woman. Please let me know how wrong I am. Please let me know your thoughts on that. So do you do you want to delve into this in 2 minutes, or do you want to park that?
Can I delve into it in 2 minutes and then we can chat about it later?
Okay,
And
sure,
in a
go for
future
it.
episode. But my initial thoughts are, I don't think it matters necessarily the school or the environment or whatever. No, the school, right? The public or private. But the immediate environment, I think nowadays is what influences a lot, right? So if you grew up seeing your parents go 50-50 on stuff, you're not going to come, irrespective of whether it was public school, private school, you're not going to come back later on in life and make demands of being a paid for person on someone else's dime for your whole life, in any respect, right? I think if your environment growing up was such that you witnessed 50-50, you'll probably do 50-50. If the environment you grew up in is such that you witnessed someone constantly using money as a way to escape poverty, or using existing forms of patriarchy as a way to access good life, then that's how you'll see it as a woman, and that's how you'll approach love as a man. I think it's not as straightforward, but I would recommend that listener to go to King Kandora. Has a segment in his very, very first special about public school, private school thing. It's very interesting. I would just say go check that out, and then we can take this on further later on.
Okay. Yeah, no, we can. Yeah, let's. Cause man's got to go. But yeah, it's that private government search is hilarious, because the way Touches earns is so funny. Oh shit, this just reminded me. So yeah, we'll park that for next week. But then also I will go into what another issue. I'll tie it into that I experienced. I went real quick. We were in a club in New York, and it's what we call, like Skinos or something. So apparently, I think the Columbia like African student group was having like an event there, or maybe a couple Ivy League schools are having an event there. So there was a bunch of African students going to Ivy League schools, right, in that one location. I pull up with my boys, good vibes, good music, good setting, everything, and like every person that I met, guy or girl. First question: hi, my name is so and so. What school do you go to? I'm like, what's going on? Everybody, hey, no. What school are you going to? And I'm like, what the fuck? And the moment you said a non-Ivy League school, they could, like, this other friend of mine introduced himself, and the girl, I was like, what school do you go to? And he was like, nah, I don't go to any of these schools. She literally turned around and went somewhere else. And I was like, bro.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was mad. It was mad. Like I could not believe it. I was like, this is what we're doing at this age. You know what I mean? Like, this is when people are meant to be making money. When it's Thabo, your masters, you're doing it at XXX's place, but it broke. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't make any sense to me.
This is why Nat last week was talking about the whole her being dragged by the UCT kids, because she was saying stuff like it doesn't matter that you went to UCT, and they were like, yay. It's important to us.
No. So the school you went to, the name is huge in the US, huge, and that was like, I'd completely forgotten about that. So coming from Dubai, it's like Dubai is literally about, chief, show me your wallet. Like, don't talk chief. What we say, show me your money. That's it, you know.
But you get to a certain age where that's what it's all about, right? So it's never about once I think
no, but because the thing is with Dubai, even with white young professionals, it's the same story. Like, ask Katis, like, bro, if you want someone to rate you, it's like, where do you live? What's your lifestyle that you live? Like, oh shit, okay. You could have gone to fucking, get a primary. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a fuck because you're balling.
Yeah, it's like,
right.
It's like this whole thing. I went to CBC. It was CBC, but that's not something that I still hold over and introduce myself. Yeah, I went to CBC, then I went to Wits, and no, No, akukho. Bruh, it actually feels like, and if anyone actually ever does that, I always feel like, dude, there's been more to life than that. Like there's so much more to life than where you went to school.
I think, again, if you use that, right? If you went to UCT, if you went to Harvard Business School, wherever, right? And if you use that and now it's like, listen, I'm out here balling out of control. I'm running a multi-million-dollar hedge fund. Okay, I respect that. Then tell me about your days in uni all you want. But then if you're at one of these top schools and I'll got to answer, then it's like, but bruh, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's where my biggest annoyance is. Where it's like, okay, you want us to clap for you, but at the end of the night, you're asking me for Uber money. How does that equate? You know, how does that equate at the end of the day? But anyway, we'll go into all of that next week. Man's got to go. Mr. Moore, is there anything else that you want to close with, or we're good to go?
Now we're good to go. We'll catch up next week. Special thanks again to Nat for coming through last week. Really appreciate her taking time and coming through to the pod. Any shout outs? Oh, today is one of our favorite listeners' birthday, DJ Ropa.
Shout out. Happy birthday.
Shout out to her. Keep her, she's improving on fantasy and everything. But we'll do all that. We'll catch up on all that stuff later, Mr. Babs.
DM us with the breakup story, isn't? We know you have one. Oh, man. All right. Anyway, guys, you know what it is. Like the ting, subscribe to the ting, retweet the ting. And if you don't, we are inclined to believe that you are a hater. Mr. Moyo.
Laters.